Welcome back, guys, to another video brought to you by your one and only literary Pharaoh. Alright, guys, I'm on the road to work this morning. I had something on my mind, and it's in the arena, in the category of boxing. And I love boxing, like I told you guys before. This channel is truly a reflection of the things I like. So I don't have a niche channel. When I say I don't have a niche channel, meaning that my channel isn't just predicated on a particular topic or a particular category. My channel is literally the things that I enjoy, or the things that I have passion for. And so the things that I have passion for are not limited to just one thing alone. I do not want to pigeon myself. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into one particular category, because when you do that, you tend to limit your scope and the vast amount of outreach, or a vast amount of impact that you could potentially have. So what I endeavor to do is just to do what I feel like doing. Earlier, when I used to talk about Colorado Buffs, the football program, and Deion Sanders, that was my thing, because at the time that was what I was passionate about. Right now, I don't care to talk about that right now. It just depends. When I wake up in the morning, or what I've seen in the previous day, whatever just is in my heart, whatever drives and moves me, is what I'm going to speak about. And because David Morrell and David Benavidez are about to have their fight February 1st, this Saturday, I've been in the mood and been on the mode of talking about boxing. So, which brings me to the topic today, another boxing category, another boxing topic. And I want to talk about what I just recently found out about Floyd Mayweather working out with Lamont Roach. Now, when I saw this online, I'm like, oh, okay, I see what this is about. It's clear that Floyd and Gervonta Davis do not see eye to eye. They once, and if you don't know the history, Gervonta and Floyd were partners. They worked together. Floyd managed him. Floyd would kind of like, not his trainer per se, but sort of like managing his career, promoting his career, sort of like what De La Hoya does, what De La Hoya was doing with Ryan Garcia before Ryan Garcia departed ways with Oscar De La Hoya. So it's kind of similar to that, like how De La Hoya has the Golden Boy, and Floyd Mayweather has the Money Team, TMT. So Floyd Mayweather and Gervonta Davis were working together, and Floyd's objective or mission or goal was to manage Gervonta Davis's career, limiting his risk and maximizing his rewards, which is why I think, personally speaking, that Tank is in the position that he is today, because there were a lot of big fights that were missed because of the way that Floyd was trying to manage Gervonta Davis's career. When you're trying to manage someone's career and take the route of being too careful, you can pigeonhole yourself or put yourself in the corner where, when you look back at your career, people are going to say, well, you didn't really fight that many great fighters. Yeah, you were undefeated. Yeah, you knocked out. Your knockout rate was over 95%, around that area. And yeah, you were a great boxer, but we never saw the great matchups of the good fighters in your era, because you walked too carefully. There's an advantage of being careful, but there's also a drawback. You can also have cons that go against you when you, especially in the sport of boxing. Boxing is a violent sport. It's a sport that has two men in the ring that are engaged in physical combat, and you can't be too careful in that, because you have other great fighters, and fans lead the sport. It's not the boxers that lead the sport, it's the fans that lead the sport. You have to give the fans what they want. Just like gladiator sports, in the ring, the audience, they drive the narrative. It's what they want. They scream, they yell. So the crowd, the audience, the onlookers, people like us who view boxing, who love boxing, we're the ones that drive the narrative. We should be the ones that drive the narrative. But it's not always so. So, which brings me to why I'm making this video. When I heard about that, when I heard about how Floyd is training with Lamont Roach, I was like, this is not a good look. But not for the reasons that you guys think. This is not a good look because we know the psychology of Gervonta Tank Davis. When I say we know, those who follow boxing know this. And if you're listening to me right now, if you don't know this, I'm going to enlighten you so you can kind of get an idea of the type of mindset that he has. Tank Davis knows that he's a talented boxer. There's some boxers who don't have the confidence, and sometimes they're a bit shocked at their own accomplishments. Gervonta Tank Davis is not one of those guys. As a matter of fact, I think that he's so great of a boxer that at times he gets bored. You know, he doesn't see certain opposition or certain ops as formidable foes to get up for. So he's not driven. He doesn't have the compulsion to say, oh my God, I got to get up for this fight because this fighter's a great fighter. Because he knows deep down in his heart of hearts that there are not too many guys out there that can contend with him. Lamont Roach being one of them. If you took time to examine the past press conferences with Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach, and you saw how Gervonta was more relaxed, right? He had this kind of like weird disposition about himself. His countenance was sort of off. He was hinting at retiring. He said that boxing sucks, that he's not going to be in the game too long. And all of a sudden, when Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis were getting asked questions from the reporters, there were a group of people that were part of Lamont Roach's crew. This was supposed to be a battle between Baltimore and Washington. That's the theme of this boxing match. One guy's from Washington, one guy's from Baltimore. Baltimore being Gervonta Tank Davis's abode, and Washington being Lamont Roach's abode. And they had this little Washington-Baltimore clash kind of thing going on. So you had a group of these guys that were for Lamont Roach, I guess his crew, his team, his whatever. And you saw the lackadaisical, vibe given off by Gervonta Tank Davis. He was just relaxed, I think he had a toothpick in his mouth. He was kind of just like, yeah, talking. Immediately, and I've seen this in past events with Gervonta Tank Davis, but for the sake of this video, I'm just specifically talking about the one with Lamont Roach. And he's done this with other boxers. Immediately he heard the noise and the chatter, the banter from the people on Lamont Roach's side. You saw something ignite immediately in Gervonta Tank Davis. Immediately he just got upset. He said, oh, you guys are going to get his ass whooped. You guys are not fighting. He's fighting. The more shit you talk, I'm going to show you. I'm going to embarrass you in front of your people. You're going to get your boxer hurt. The more you talk, because I can't beat your asses, I'm going to take it out on your guy, Lamont Roach. You guys are talking all of that shit. I can't fight y'all. But what I will do is take the energy that you guys are giving me, this negative energy, I'm going to take it and use it and harness it, and I'm going to take that shit out on Lamont Roach. If you know what's best for you, you would shut the hell up and respect greatness when you see it, and then your fighter may have a chance, because I may be a little bit too reserved in my approach and be unguarded and not guarded. But because you guys are talking all this shit, I'm going to show you. And the only way I can show you is not by whipping your ass, it's by whipping the boxer's ass that you're backing up. I'm going to make a fool out of you. That's Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, you may say, how does this correlate, or how does this make sense talking about Lamont Roach and then talking about a press conference and then talking about Floyd Mayweather? But that's the same thing. There's conflict between Mayweather and Gervonta Davis. There's conflict. It's sort of like in a relationship, and I hate to use a relationship because guys are not homosexuals, they're just men, but I have to use a relationship for you guys to understand the dynamic of the point that I'm trying to make. It's sort of like a guy in a relationship, girl and a guy in a relationship, and the girl breaks up with the guy because she's pissed off that, I guess the guy's not giving her enough time, or maybe he cheated, or he was caught doing something he wasn't supposed to do. The girl leaves the guy. But the girl is like, how can I get back at my ex-boyfriend? Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go date one of his best friends, or I'm gonna try to come or approach one of his friends. That's analogous to what Floyd Mayweather is doing right now. And it's kind of weird. I'm going to explain that. Mayweather, Tank Davis have conflict. Whether it's a past conflict, maybe it's conflict that's not there anymore, but the flame has been ignited now. You're training my opposition? You used to work with me. Now you're training my opposition? The boyfriend, you used to F with me. Yeah, I messed up. I'm sorry. Now you're going to break up with me and try to talk to my best friend? Or even better yet, to make the analogy more parallel, more streamlined, you used to mess with me. I told you all my secrets about who my enemies were. I told you that I don't like this guy don't like this guy. Now you're going to go try to talk to the guys that I told you that I hate? You can't find anybody else to talk to? Or you're going to try to get at me? That's the way you're going to try to get at me. We're going to break up with me and go to my enemies. That's exactly what Floyd Mayweather is doing. Now, the reason why I prefaced this video talking about the press conference with Lamont Roach is that what you saw happen with Gervonta Tank Davis when he got visibly upset, when people started to talk, he's okay with Lamont Roach because he knows Lamont Roach is not a threat. He's like, okay, I'm going to just beat his ass. It's when the other people start to talk. He's like, oh, hold on. Oh, you have a crew behind you. Okay, so that's my motivator. You don't motivate me, Lamont Roach. You need more people. Just like that Jay-Z song, you need more people. Lamont, you need more people. And that's what Lamont did. He gave to Gervonta Tank Davis more people to get his ass whooped. Because sometimes Gervonta Tank Davis, like I said earlier, he knows his greatness. And sometimes knowing your greatness and knowing that you're good can be a hindrance, can be an impediment to your progress, because you can get lazy, you can not train too hard because you're too enamored with your abilities. You're like, hey, well, hell, I know I got this. You start to feel yourself, so to speak. You start to read your own press clippings, and that drive, that hunger to be great sort of dissipates. It doesn't totally go away, but it sort of decreases. Incrementally it does. But you're like, I'm great. I don't need to work that hard to beat this guy's ass. But when you have other people talking shit, you're like, hold on. You. Oh, y'all too? Okay, I got y'all. What Floyd has done, he's buried Lamont. He's buried Lamont. Lamont is dead. He's done. Lamont is going to be crushed. I don't even see this fight going. I wouldn't be shocked if this fight ends in the first 3 rounds. You said, why is that? Why is that? Okay, number one, Lamont's a small guy. And we know what Tank Davis does to small guys. This is a guy that was fighting at 130. He just cripped up to 135. Okay, he's not comfortable with 135. He went to 135 before, then he eventually went back down to 130 because he's more comfortable with 130. Now he goes up to 135 to fight Tank. Now you have a guy, Floyd, who was my friend, who managed me, who trained with me. All of a sudden he's training you. You guys do not understand the psychology of Gervonta Davis. There's a evil, mean streak in that guy. When a guy's tatted up like that, that's a guy that has a lot of pain. I know from personal experience. You don't see I'm not as tattooed up as he is, but I have a lot of tattoos. And I was going through some things at the time that I got those things done. And yes, a lot of the times when people get tattoos, it can be symbolic, but you're going through something psychologically that you want a symbolic representation on your skin. You're taking your life's pain and you're putting it on your skin. And you're putting it on your skin because tattoos are painful. So it's like pain meets pain. But you want the pain to manifest itself in something that's symbolic. So you're taking the hardships of life. You're taking the shits of life. You're taking the lemons of life, and you're making lemonade with it. That's what tattoos represents when you see it on people. People who are in prisons, people who've had hard times. The reason why they're tatted up is not to show that I'm hardcore, that I'm cool. That's shallow shit. That's Hollywood crap. People who have a lot of tattoos are going through something, and they want that pain to mean something. When you look at Gervonta Tank Davis, that's a guy that's he's a walking demon. That's why he was talking about getting help, and he has daughters. He wants to be softer. He understands the animal in him. He understands his inner animal. He understands his inner animal. So when he finds out that an enemy of mine, or my op, Floyd Mayweather, not his boxing op, but his opposition in terms of his life experiences, because he's not going to fight Mayweather. They're not going to be in the ring together fighting. But when Mayweather starts to train Lamont Roach, do you know what that does to Gervonta Davis? It's actually an advantage for Davis. I know many of you casuals will say, oh my God, maybe Floyd is going to give Lamont a trick or two of how to beat Gervonta Davis. Maybe Mayweather's greatness will help Lamont Roach be great, and Lamont Roach will somehow pull up the opposite. No, guys, you're in a dream world. There's no way in hell Lamont Roach never had a chance against Tank Davis. He really doesn't have a chance. Yeah, so Lamont Roach has no chance. The fact that Mayweather is in his camp, do you know what that does for Gervonta Davis? You're poking a bear that you don't want to poke right now. So now it's not that Tank Davis is going to be fighting against Lamont. Symbolically and proverbially, he's fighting against Floyd. He's also fighting against all those guys that were talking shit in the press conference. So you're just giving the guy more motivation. You already get, what you don't want to do is give a great fighter motivation. Sort of like with Jordan. You don't want to give him anything to piss him off, because if you do, then he takes it personally, then he's going to just devour you. You leave greatness alone. You respect it. As a matter of fact, I would err on the side of being overly complimentary. Oh man, yeah, Tank, he's a great fighter, man. I know he's great. He's a great boxer. I got to be careful in there. I'd rather you tote that line. Now, it sounds like you're being weak when you're a fighter talking about the greatness of another fighter, but no, that's just a sign of respect. But when you do that, you have a better chance of winning, because your opposition knows that you know he's great, and that your opposition, they tend to rest on their laurels. They're like, hey, he knows I'm great. He knows I'm gonna whip his ass. But then Lamont's talking noise. He's talking trash. His camp is talking trash. And now you have one of my public enemy. Like, people know me and Mayweather don't get along, and Mayweather's training with you. Oh, okay, I got you. He's gonna eviscerate Lamont to the point where he's trying to embarrass Floyd. You're gonna go work with my op? Okay. Now you can. There's no law that says that Mayweather can't work with anything. He can do whatever the hell he wants. He's Mayweather. But that's a trap. And Lamont, the fact that Lamont accepted that lets you know the ignorance of Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach does not understand that, yes, boxing is physical as it is, it's also mental. If you want to gain a mental edge over your opponent, you have to understand the mental makeup of your opponent. If he understood the mental makeup of Gervonta Tank Davis, he would not allow Mayweather to go into his camp. He wouldn't. Because I don't want to get the guy more angry than he is. You wouldn't. So now, Lamont, you're not fighting Tank Davis, and you're not fighting a Tank Davis that's coming in to fight you. You're fighting a Tank Davis that has an agenda. You're fighting against a fighter now that has bigger things to squash. And that's the worst thing you can do. We know Tank Davis is the monster, but now he's viewing you as the monster, not because of your particular boxing skill set, but because of the large backing that you've put on your side, Lamont. You have your people from Washington talking noise. You have Floyd Mayweather training and working with you. You're digging yourself a grave. You're setting yourself up for disaster, and that's exactly what's going to happen to Lamont Roach. Leave a comment, guys. Tell me what you guys think, because I really think that he's about to get destroyed, because Floyd's not going to help you. Yeah, just because you train with a great trainer or train with a great boxer does not mean that it's going to materialize in the boxing ring. Yeah, he may give you pointers, but once you get punched in the mouth in the ring, then all that goes out the window. Lamont, I feel sorry for you, buddy. You should have just, and if you were working with Floyd, maybe you should have kept it like secret. I don't know. But now, the cat is out the bag. Now everyone knows what you're doing. And this only pisses off Gervonta Davis even more. I don't know what you were thinking, but you know the kind of guy he is. He already doesn't have, how can I explain this? It's sort of like the guy who has physical gifts that doesn't really need to train that hard. They're just great. The worst thing you want to do is give a person who has physical gifts motivation. Because once you give that person motivation, they're going to train a little harder. Now they have an agenda. Now they have a motive. to wreak havoc and bring forth the destruction. And that's what's going to happen to Lamont Roach. You don't bring Mayweather in your camp, because now you're entering a fight that you did not need to enter. The fight between Mayweather and Davis was their own fight. Now you allow. That's how delusional you are, Lamont. You really think you have a chance with Tank Davis? And you think that bringing in Floyd is going to give you an edge? Yeah, bringing in Floyd gives, not that Tank Davis needed an edge, but it's all advantage Tank Davis. I know the casual fan would say, no, but he's working with Floyd. Floyd is going to make him get better. No. The psychological component neutralizes the attempt at using Mayweather to improve his chances. The psychological component neutralizes that, because from a physical perspective, if you just look at what's going on, you'll say, hey, Mayweather is training him. Mayweather's greatness will help Lamont with Tank. Because Floyd worked with Tank, he can give Lamont some insight on certain things or certain weaknesses or certain, trends or proclivities that Tank Davis has, and to give Lamont a chance to exploit those weaknesses. That's what the casual would think. But boxing is much more than the physical and what you can actually conceptualize through the abstract. It's much more than that. There's a psychological component that's there. You cannot ignore that. The psychological component is that when you have a man that has motive, that has something to fight for, the physical part's there. I don't want to tell you that it doesn't matter. Yeah, I understand that from a broad surface perspective. Yeah, working out with a great fighter is good for you. Working out, I'm sure Lamont is learning some things that he probably hadn't learned before from Floyd. And I applaud that. That's great. But there's another side of boxing. There's a psychological component. When a man is fighting for his life, fighting for his kids, fighting for his dignity, fighting for his legend, fighting for his pride, a man who already has deep psychological issues or has an inner monster and doesn't really like fighting, but when he does fight, he's a lion. And now you're giving me ammunition to actually fight, and I'm already better than you. Lamont, you effed up, man. You're done. Leave a comment, guys. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think that is a good approach for Lamont Roach to add Floyd Mayweather in his camp to help him train against Gervonta Tank Davis? Or do you think that what I'm saying or the analysis that I have about the situation is off? Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. All right, peace until next time. And remember, guys, your health is your wealth. Never forget that. Peace. Love you guys. Till next time.